Good day all, welcome to our first podcast. I am Creed Venoms and today I have Untitled reptiles with me today. And today we'll be discussing about ball pythons. So what do you think about it?
Ball pythons, roughly from my own experience, they're not bad snakes to keep. I'm going to say they're good snakes, they're docile, they're calm. But the one thing that puts me off is they're very common and they're feeding problems.
Okay, so it's also because so what you're saying is because they're overrated. Like a lot of people own them and then the prices go up and down with them. And also for the fact that they take around once every 5-6 months before they actually eat. Maybe even longer.
True that, and the prices, what I've noticed is the prices doesn't really go up and down. Mostly it goes down and it stays low.
Yeah, that's also the truth. But I've also, okay, so just to go back to with the price, etc. I've noticed on MorphMarket, there's a piebald head, there's a ghost, okay, for $30,000, even though a piebald goes for around $1,500. How so?
So, the piebald desert ghost is a very powerful animal. Usually, let's say you have got a desert ghost head-pied female. You can easily make a snake that's worth 50, 60, maybe even 70,000 bucks.
Yeah, that's also true. But because as I've noticed, which is actually quite strange to me, well, while I'm arguing over the fact that the prices are high. You see, for a regular visual desert ghost, well, for females you pay, of course, a lot more, but like for a normal male desert ghost, you were paying around $2,000 For a female goes for $3,500 to $4,000. Whereas for a piebald goes between $1,500 and $2,000. Just, I don't know, in my opinion, doesn't really make any sense.
The reason for that being is, desert ghost females are very rare. They like banana females, although I see banana females are getting more common nowadays. But desert ghost females, they're very rare. In a clutch of, let's say, 6 eggs, you've got like a 10% chance, maybe even less, of hatching a female.
That's also the case. Yeah, but also, now that you mentioned the bananas, it's shocking to see that a snake that used to be around $3,000 going now for $900 for a normal banana. That's terrifying.
That's true, but you know what the biggest reason is, what I've seen with the ball pythons and the prices and everything. I mean, in comparison, take the banana. When I just got into the hobby back in 2017, 2018, bananas sold for around 4,000 each for male. Now, 4 or 5 years later, no, longer, 6, 7 years later, it's selling for $900. I mean, back then I would have paid $4,000 for male, where I can now pay $900. Because what happened is everybody saw, oh, bananas is going for 4,000 each as a single gene. So let's all breed bananas. And that's what's basically happening with the ball python industry.
Yeah, it's also a problem. So because of the fact that one type of gene becomes popular, now everyone wants to breed it for their own incomes. They want to invest into the type of genetics. In which case, at the end of the day, the prices fall because of that. Because everyone is starting to breed it.
That's true.
That's also the case. But yeah, still, I've noticed the clowns are still at the same price as they used to be. For visual clowns, still $4,000, $5,000 each.
Yeah, that's true, but I've seen some people selling normal clowns for about $2,500 nowadays.
Yeah, but that's a normal clown. Yeah, still a lot less than I used to check back then, around $3,500. And now it's hectic. But yeah, now to kind of talking about the morphs, etc. You ever wondered about the disabilities you find in a variety of different morphs? For example, in spiders.
I did, and personally, I'm not a very big fan of the morphs with the disabilities like your spider and spot nose spiders and your womas and Eden womas and all that kind of stuff, including champagne. But I must admit, I'm a big sucker for champagne, especially pastel champagne.
Oh yeah, I love champagnes.
So
Beautiful colours.
that's the only morph with a disability that I'll keep, but not necessarily breed. Just keep it as show.
Yeah, just for display. Yeah, it's also stunning. I'm still actually shocked. So back in 2017, I spoke to this one bloke, David from, what's the place called again? Designer Pythons in Centurion. I spoke to him about the variety of different spider morphs and champagnes. I asked him what would happen if I take a champagne and I breed with a spider. He said, no, that's a lethal combo because there isn't a chance that the snake will actually hatch. All of them will die because of it. Which makes sense because both are a problem morph. For example.
That's true.
It is so. But I still actually wonder, so I remember back then when we had the conversation of the pastel and also, no, not the pastel, sorry, the spider with another spider, the super spider gene.
Yeah.
What happened?
That's definitely a lethal combo, and also I know if you breed spider and spot nose, it's lethal, champagne and spot nose and champagne and woma, and Eden woma and woma, and you can do a mix and match with all the problematic morphs, and then see what combos work and what not, but especially don't breed them, just do your research. Like, for instance, if you know spot nose and spider, won't mix. Ends for spot nose and spider not existing, because it's a lethal combo.
Yeah, it's also true. But now I can't think of it, so how can I state it? So coming back to the super spider gene, I'll add a picture in the video. Luckily I have a picture there. Well, first I heard of someone telling me they had the super spider gene bred with something else and then the male passed away. However, I heard by another bloke that there was only one super spider ball python that was actually hatched. However, at a juvenile size, it passed away.
Yeah, that's true. I can confirm it because I've seen it on Facebook. I don't recall exactly where, in which state or whatever, but I have seen it, and there wasn't the male. Luckily, it was a male. It was like a pure white snake with black eyes, but you could see it was a bit deformed, and the head wobble was heavy, and he bred it back to a pastel female.
Ooh.
And he basically hatched a clutch of half of the clutch was bumblebees, other half was just plain spider. And just after the breeding, the male passed away.
Ah, damn it. But that male you just stated off, you said it was a white snake with black eyes. So it had more like a Mojave mix in it as well, not just spider.
No, it was just plain super spider.
Okay, that's strange. But yeah, because I know with your pure white snakes, to be able to create a pure white snake, you use either a laser with a laser or a Mojave with a laser. Because I know that's...
No, I'm going to stop you there.
Okay.
Laser with laser is also going to cause deformities. Either you get super small eyes, like a sandbar size eyes on a ball python,
Alright.
or you get overly large eyes.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, now to talk about small eyes, etc. How about no eyes? You ever noticed, for example, keepers such as Brian Barksack and Nerd, Kevin McCurley, they used to have, ball pythons with absolutely no eyes, or like something is 100% wrong with those animals. How come? How do you think so?
To be honest, on that, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't done my research on that, because personally, I've never hatched any snake with any deformities or kinks or whatever. So I haven't really done any research or asked further questions or anything on that. But I think the only thing for me is if I ever had to hatch a snake with no eyes or a kink or something, I would rather euthanize it, which is a humane way to do it. because my problem is when it comes to animals, I've got a very soft heart, and ball pythons, especially because it was my second snake, and due to their docile temperament and so forth, they're very close to my heart, but at the moment I'm not keeping any. So, yeah, you see with that, I just feel it's like every animal deserves a fair chance at life. But the animal with no eyes or teeth, rather let it just go instead of it suffering the whole time just for your own entertainment.
Yeah, that's also a case, definitely. But yeah, I've also noticed, so I've noticed, as I've observed Kevin McCurley's one video towards the deformities with the animals with no eyes. Did you know a snake with no eyes survived the longest? Did you know that? The reason why.
I really didn't know that.
So, according to, it wasn't Kevin McCurley. Yeah, according to Kevin McCurley, a ball python, a snake with no eyes, is usually the first one to eat in the entire clutch because there's no distractions towards a snake. The only thing it's concentrated on is the scent of the rodent.
That actually makes sense.
Indeed, and unfortunately, then you get snakes with, for example, 2 heads. That's got to be probably a bit of a problem.
No, but like, I know Brian Boxack has got a 2-headed California king snake.
And also radiant sliders and corn snakes, I think.
Yeah. So, for that king snake, I think their names are Ben and Jerry, if I recall correctly.
I think so, and also the Rick and Morty, the radiant sliders.
Yeah.
Or do they pass? I don't know.
I'm not sure. To be honest, I haven't watched these videos in a long time. But I know the 2-headed king snake he has. Every time he feeds them, he basically needs to feed both heads, because in their minds, they're 2 separate snakes. They don't know they're one body. I mean, it's one body with 2 minds.
Yeah, that's also a problem.
Every time I see that, I just feel terrible for that, because I mean, I see it as a kind of deformity, although I'm not promoting it, but in a way it looks kind of cool, but still I don't think I have the heart to keep something like that.
That's also true. Now imagine that with a ball python with 2 heads. Now keep on, as we spoke in the beginning of the video, with the ball pythons, some don't even want to eat at all. Now let's just say it's 2 snakes stuck on one body, however they both have their separate stomachs. That's going to cause a problem. Unless if both the ball pythons want to eat. Because if only one ball python eats and the other one doesn't, on the end of the day, that other half is going to pass away. And then that poor snake have to just stay stuck with that snake. And then if you try to do surgical, if you want to do surgery on it, and then that snake, the other half will basically be gone. However, the other one will cause more infections and it will also pass at the end of the day. So that's also a problem.
That's true, that I can agree with.
Yeah, that's also a problem. But yeah, speaking of the heads, etc., it reminds me of another topic we should discuss, which is of course scamming. So let me just say this. I'm Jonathan from across the road. I have this ball python. You're a newbie. I'm gonna tell you a morph. You'll have to tell me what's accurate and what's inaccurate about this. I have a super normal head laser head mojave for sale for $2,500. What's your response to that?
As a newbie or as an experienced keeper?
As an experienced now.
Inexperienced? So, obviously I don't know anything about them. And I see, okay, so a snake that, obviously I'm going to buy it because it sounds interesting.
But as experienced?
With experience, I'm going to tell you, there's the gate. Where you just came in, you can just go out. Because first of all, a normal is nothing but a base morph.
It's a wild
The
type.
normal has got no value. It's basically a snake that's worth nothing. So for someone that lives alone, that just wants an interesting, semi-interesting pet, obviously you're just going to go and buy a normal just to have the snake, you know? It's the cheapest ball python you can get.
And it's just a single gene. You can't mix anything with it.
So, and first of all, lesser is a codominant gene. So it can't be it because it's not a recessive. Same with Mojave. It's also a codominant gene, which means if you take a lesser or Mojave and you breed it to a normal, half of your clutch is going to be lesser, other half is going to be normal. So, and also if you breed lesser with Mojave, you're going to get a pure white snake with blue eyes, which is known as a blue-eyed leucistic.
That's also true. So what advice... okay, Cameron?
So, and the same with pastel. If you breed pastel to pastel, you have a 1 in 4, which means 25% chance of getting a super pastel. But if you breed a normal to a normal, there's no such thing as a super normal.
That's also true.
Normal is a dominant gene, not a codominant gene.
But not actually, because if you take a normal and you add it to a pastel, what do you think it's going to come out? A pastel.
Half of your clutch is going to be pastel, the other half is going to be normal.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's not really a normal. Isn't a dominant gene? It's just a normal wild type gene.
But the reason why I'm saying it's a dominant gene is because, take for instance, leopard. Leopard is a dominant gene. You don't get a super leopard.
Yeah, true. Same with I think same with pinstripe as well.
Pinstripe as well. That's a dominant gene.
Yeah, it's also true. But if you take a pinstripe and you add it to a pastel, you're going to get a pastel pinstripe. But if you take a normal and you add it to a pastel, it's going to be a pastel. Just a regular pastel.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get a picture in my head for the normals for the being a dominant gene. But yeah, it's alright. I get that. Okay, so getting back to the scamming, etc. What advice do you have for the newbies coming into genetics of variety of snakes that they should be watching out for?
First of all, get on WhatsApp groups. That's something I wish I knew when I got in. The reason why I'm saying that is, if you get on WhatsApp groups, there's hundreds, 200 different people on that groups. And 90% of those people own snakes. Especially if you get on a ball python group, 90% of them own ball pythons. And let's call it 75% of them breed ball pythons. Okay? So, the first thing from my experience, which I wish I would have done earlier, was get on WhatsApp groups and ask for well-known breeders, so you know who to buy from and who to avoid.
That's also true. So basically, speaking about for example, heats. So a lot of people will be probably, especially newbies, will be arguing about heats. And the only problem with heats is that you can't see the gene. The only way you'll be able to see the gene is when you breed it with another animal that has the same genes.
Indeed.
So that's also another problem. So, out of everything we've discussed about ball pythons, do you really think it's a good beginner snake for newbies?
How can I say? To be honest, I don't know. I would go for colubrids, like either a corn snake or a king snake. But if you want a good docile beginner snake, go for corn snake. The reason I'm saying that is because many people can agree with me that king snakes are not really as docile. Some of them, some aren't, but it's semi-aggressive. Actually not aggressive. correct word is defensive.
Defensive, there you go.
So, the reason why I'm saying that is corn snakes. You can feed them 6 times a day, 7 days a week, and they'll eat. Ball pythons, you feed once a week, and they decide when they want to eat. And that is what gets people stressed or
frustrated,
irritated or something. Or, so my personal opinion is if you are experienced, meaning keeping or have been keeping snakes for at least 5 years, many different species, venomous, non-venomous, etc., you are experienced enough to know what to look for when a snake doesn't want to eat, how to help with shedding, what signs to look out for when they don't want to eat. Because first of all, when a snake doesn't want to eat, it means it's probably sick or it's a ball python.
It's a ball python, I like that one. That makes sense. Alright.
So, that's basically my honest opinion about keeping ball pythons. Be prepared to feed once every 6 months.
That makes sense. But thanks a lot, Donovan, also known as Untitled Reptiles, for joining me on this podcast. And thank you all for listening to this podcast. Hopefully this can help a lot of beginners or newbies out there who wants to join the reptile community. But thank you all for listening. I'll see you all on the next podcast.